Morning. Good morning, everybody. So I'm recording this seated yoga class this morning for Be Healthy Together from my home. And welcome if you're going to join us live this morning, but also welcome if you are watching this on a catch-up later today or through the week or at any time in the future. All you need for today's practice is to be wearing something comfortable that you can move and stretch in, and a chair, because we're going to be doing this class seated. Although, having said that, if it's more comfortable for your body to take some of the stretches that we're doing standing, then feel free to adapt anything that I'm teaching during this class for your body. So each of us is an individual. We're going to listen to our individual body's needs, and if that for you means it's more comfortable to stand up as you're folding forward or stretching, then please feel free to do that. But I'm teaching the class from a seated position in a chair. I've got just an ordinary chair behind me, and so if you haven't already, I suggest you get yourself a chair. Good morning, Justina. It's nice to have you practicing with me this morning. I'm missing everybody from the Thursday morning class. It's not quite the same, is it, as being together in a room, but it's the best that we have at the moment, and I still do feel connected to you, each of you, whether you're here right now and you've managed to master the technology and log in and do the class live, or whether you do this class on a catch-up. So we are all still thinking of each other and all connected, and looking forward to the time when perhaps we can practice physically together again. But anyway, yes, send me a little message to let us know that you're here, or if you have any concerns. I won't respond to them during the class, but I think somebody from Be Healthy Together, they're working away in the office, and that they'll respond to any questions that you have and messages. So without further ado, let's head to our chairs and make ourselves comfortable sitting for this yoga practice. We're going to have a good stretch through the whole body, and then a bit of relaxation at the end, and connecting all of our practice today with our breath, that bridge between our mind and our body that we can use to drag our focus inward, away from all the distractions out there, and have a good practice. Okay. So when you have your chair, I haven't today, but if you have something under your feet, it might help. Just raise your feet if that's good, just a big book or something. I'm going to sit forward in my chair and have my feet just really grounding on the floor today. And just take a moment as you sit here. Sit in as upright position as you can. So we all kind of know what good posture should be sitting in a chair. So think about that for a moment. Just holding yourself upright, and begin to, before we do any movement, notice how you feel. So notice how you feel sitting in this chair, both physically and mentally or emotionally. So notice the points of connection between yourself and the chair and the ground. So this morning I've been very bold and taken off my socks. You can do the same if you like, if you're at home, but I would suggest at the very least that you try and take off your shoes or slippers if you're in your home, just so that you can better feel that connection between the bottom of your feet and the ground. And I'm going to begin the stretching practice by doing a little bit of work on the feet and the legs as well this morning. So it just is helpful if you don't have shoes on to do that. Morning. Let's see. Little message from Francis there. Good morning, Francis. So we've only just started this morning. We're just finding that comfortable seat where we can just invite a little bit of stillness and calm, and then begin to focus on our breath to help us through the practice. So I hope you can hear me okay this morning. I've got my door open here. I'm sitting in a sort of garden room, I guess, conservatory, and it's quite a bit of noise out there, but hopefully we'll be all right through the practice. So begin to notice your breath as well as how you're feeling this morning. And let's not judge ourselves for how we're feeling today. How you're feeling is how you're feeling. We'll accept that, and then we'll set all those thoughts to one side as we move through this practice. So beginning to slow things down a little just at the beginning to draw that focus inward. Drawing our attention to the breath. Relax the abdominal area so that your diaphragm can drop down, creating space for your lungs to fill with air. And this morning I'd like us just to imagine perhaps yourself standing on a beach, but we're going to do a practice that we've done occasionally on a Thursday morning in the class before, imagining our breath like a wave. So it might sound a little odd to you if you've never done this before, but if you're more comfortable closing down your eyes, if that's not comfortable for you, then just soften your gaze, look down at the ground just ahead of you. Pick a point of focus and just fix your gaze on that, just slowly softening your gaze, beginning to draw your attention inward. Lovely. And then beginning to picture a wave on a beach. It can be helpful to close down the eyes, just to use our imagining this way and draw our attention to our breath. We're going to use our breath. So inhale, I want you to imagine the wave rolling up the beach. Just as slowly as the breath. So that wave rolling up the beach lasts as long as your inhale. At the very top of your inhale is where that wave just breaks gently and begins to roll back down the beach as you exhale. And again, that wave, that movement of the wave lasting as long as the exhale. So picture in your mind that wave rolling up the beach with that inhale. Just breaking at the top of the inhale. Perhaps there's an ever such a slight pause there before the exhale and the wave rolling back down the beach. Perhaps you, in your mind's eye, can hear the sound of your breath, sound of the wave as it rolls back down the beach in particular. Sometimes you get that lovely sound, don't you? Especially if it's a shingle beach, as the water just draws itself back down the beach into the sea again. And use your imagination to picture that as you begin to slow your breath down until it's a regular inhale and exhale. If that doesn't work for you, just feel free to deepen your breath, relax your abdominal muscles, relax your shoulders on the exhale, and breathe just a little deeper, more regular breath. As you're sitting in that upright position, if you're just joining us now, or drawing your attention back to that good posture, giving us as much space in our midsection to breathe as we can. And notice how it feels to be breathing like this, how that expansion of your chest, your belly, and perhaps a slight falling away as you breathe out. A relaxing of the body as well as you exhale. Lovely. We'll take a few more deep breaths like that. If you're picturing that wave rolling up the beach with your inhale and then out again with that exhale, continue with that until you develop that slow, steady rhythm of breath that can carry you through your practice. And bring your attention now to the soles of your feet. So if you've been brave like I have and taken off your socks today, then just really feel the ground beneath your feet. I don't know, for each of us that surface might be different, might be a carpet, might be wood like me, or stone, tile. Notice how it feels. If you have kept your socks on or even your shoes, just notice that connection as well, just slightly pressing your feet down into the ground. And then notice the other parts of contact in your body, so your sit bones against the chair. You feel supported by the chair beneath you. Whether that's a chair that you ordinarily sit on, or a dining chair in your home, or perhaps a wheelchair that you sit in most of the day. Notice that connection. And then bring your attention to your hands. If you have them resting in your lap, notice that connection between the palms of your hands and your legs. And then we'll take one more really big breath in and a sigh out. As you sigh out, feel everything release in your body. We'll do that again, one big breath in and then a sigh out. Relax your shoulders as you breathe out. Slowly begin to open your eyes again, just allowing the light back in. If you had your eyes closed, perhaps you were just looking down at the ground, just begin to bring your attention back to the light in the room and what you can see. Perhaps you're looking at me again now. We'll begin to take that stretch through the whole body, but beginning with the feet. So just as we made that connection with the soles of the feet, just lift up all your toes here and just hold them up for a moment. And then as we release them down to the ground, we'll try and put the toes down as separately as we can, starting with the little toe and then the next toe. And don't rush this. It's quite tricky to do actually, but just placing each toe down, finishing with the big toe, and really feeling the ball of that big toe pressing down into the ground. And then we'll lift them up again. See if we can lift up the big toe first, followed by all the other toes in turn. It might feel a really tricky thing to do this, and if all your toes are lifting up all together, don't worry about it. It's just something perhaps to practice. Releasing them back down again, pressing into the ground, the smallest toe first, each other toe, and then the big toe pressing in. And then let's rise up on those toes, stretching the shins at the front of the legs here, really coming up onto tiptoes and holding that there for a moment, noticing how that feels to be on tiptoe. Then releasing the heels and lifting up the whole of the front of the feet. You might need to shuffle your heels forward, just lifting up the whole foot from the ground there, but heels connected to the ground. And then we'll come back, so maybe slide the feet back, come back up onto tiptoes, stretch the shins, and keep your breath going as you do this. Place the feet down, come up onto the heels, flex the feet up, the whole sole of the foot, but leaving the heels connected. So keeping that lovely deep breath going back up onto the toes and then back up onto the heels. It might not feel as if you're doing a lot here, but we are beginning to wake up the muscles in the lower part of the leg and connecting the breath to this movement. It's good practice throughout our yoga today. So I've kept moving, going with that movement. Release the feet down to the ground. And we'll stretch out that right leg. So the right leg is straight and the heel comes down to the ground. Sitting up nice and straight, slightly forward in the chair if you're able to, with a bit of space between your back and the back of the chair. And flex those right toes up towards you. So this time we're inviting that stretch up the whole of the back of that right leg. The left foot is still relaxed with the left knee bent there. Sitting up straight. If you're enjoying that stretch, your hamstring isn't too tight down the back of the leg, you can intensify that stretch and just bringing both hands to the top of that left thigh and leaning forward with a straight back here. So shoulders down away from the ears, tummy tucked in, drawn in, and keeping that breath going even as you begin to engage those core muscles to protect this midsection, your lower back here as you lean forward slightly. Still flexing those right toes towards you, holding that stretch for another few breaths here. So even if a stretch like this feels a little uncomfortable, sometimes we can learn to kind of just sit with that discomfort. If anything feels painful to you, then draw out of that stretch. Ease out of it or come back to a resting position and take a break and join back in when you feel ready. Inhale to draw yourself slowly back up to sitting and then help that foot back in, that leg coming to rest again. Take a massage of that right knee and that right thigh. Just give it a good rub. And then around that hip joint as well and the lower back. And then we'll stretch out the left leg. So left leg is really straight, heel down to the ground, or just out in front of you or on a block, and toes stretching back towards you. So you're maximizing the stretch down the back of that left leg. Sitting up nice and straight. Leave it here if that suits your body, but if you want a more intense stretch, both hands can come to the top of that right thigh. And just lean forward with a straight spine as far as feels good for your leg here. So just every inch that you lean forward is going to intensify that stretch down the back of that left leg. Toes drawing towards you. Up away from the ground. Core muscles drawn in just slightly to engage the core, protecting the lower back. And bring yourself back to your breath here as you hold this stretch. So you can even bring yourself back to that picture that we conjured up at the beginning with our breath practice of that wave coming in and out. I'll hold that for another couple of breaths. Lovely. And then inhale to draw yourself back up to sitting. Help that leg back in, and then we'll give that knee, front of the knee, the back of the knee, and the thigh a good massage. Releasing any tension in the muscles there and around the hip joint and the lower back. So a little bit more movement for the ankle, raising that first right leg out ahead of you, still sitting up nice and straight if you're able, and just taking some slow circles with that right foot. So you can involve the toes. We woke up the toes earlier, and just testing out the range of movement in that ankle. Noticing how it feels to turn. Reverse the direction. We'll take a few circles back the other way. Keep breathing. This is because you're concentrating on doing something else. Let's not forget to breathe. So big breaths in and out. Slow, steady breath. Lovely. Release that leg to the ground, that foot, and we'll take circles with the left foot, the other side. So slow, steady circles connected to your breath. Involve the toes if you want to. Slow it down and reverse the direction, so we take a few circles back the other way, really feeling into the ankle joint. Lovely. Release that foot. Slide slightly back in the chair maybe and have the upper back connected to the back of the chair. We'll raise that right leg and flex the foot up this time. I'm going to take some circles, but with that foot flexed. 3 circles with it flexed, and then point the foot away and take a few more circles, warming up that hip joint. Maybe make the circles quite small, or feel into that hip joint and really give yourself a workout with bigger circles. Slow it down and we'll take 6 back in the other direction with that foot pointed. 3, 4, 5, 6. Well done. Relax that leg. Take a big breath in and a sigh out. And then lift the left leg. We'll do that again. So really flex through the foot. And by that I mean drawing the toes towards yourself and pushing away with the heel. And then take a few circles with that foot. Notice how that feels. And then to continue warming this hip joint up, you're going to point the toes away and keep going. Make the circles as small or big as you like. Engage the core muscles here as well, so the tummy drawing back. Well done, keep going. 6 back the other way. Doesn't last forever, I know it's tough. 4, 5, 6. One more, well done. Release that foot. Big breath in and a sigh out. Come to sitting back up straight, forward on the chair here. And we're going to release any tension that's built up there in the hips. So raising that right leg, the heel, the ankle comes across the left thigh. Keep a flex in that right foot. If you have a hip injury, you're waiting for a hip replacement, or you've had a hip replacement in the last couple of months, just sit this one out. We don't want to go into a place of pain in our hips, but this is quite an intense stretch, releasing each hip joint in turn. So just be mindful of your individual body. As I can't see you and I'm not with you, I don't know how each of you is feeling individually. So let's listen to our individual bodies. Just take a rest, some deep breaths at this point. If this is not a good exercise for you. If you have no issues with your hips, sitting up nice and straight, that right ankle over that left thigh, allowing the knee just to drop out to the side there. Keep a flex in that right foot. Take a few more deep breaths here. If you enjoy that stretch and you want a more intense release, opening for that right hip, begin to hinge yourself forward with that straight back again, as we did when the leg was outstretched down at the bottom. So hinging from the hips here, shoulders away from the ears, core lightly engaged. Notice how that changes the stretch. Let's take a few more deep breaths. Well done. Inhale to draw yourself back up to sitting. And actually, before we place this foot down on the ground, just give that foot, lean forward slightly. You can round your spine if that helps. And just give that foot a massage. We very rarely give much attention to our feet, do we? They do quite a lot for us, really. So the sole of that foot, the toes, the heel, maybe even around that ankle, inviting that movement. Feeling of touch, connection with that foot. And it's amazing how different your foot can actually feel when you do give it a massage and a little bit of care and attention. Lovely. Then help that foot down onto the ground. Sit up straight, notice how that feels, whether you feel any difference in the legs there. And then we'll bring that left ankle up, crossing it over the right thigh, keeping that flex in that left foot as you sit up nice and straight and letting that knee drop down. So just opening up this left hip here. Depending on what you've been doing and how your hips are, each hip might feel very different to the other. So just notice that if one feels particularly tight. And then sitting up straight, if you want that deeper stretch for that left hip, you can begin to hinge yourself forward with a nice flat back, shoulders away from the ears. Keeping that flex in that left foot just to protect the left knee joint. And connect yourself back to your breath here. So that lovely, slow, steady breath that we looked at the beginning of the practice. Even closing down your eyes for a moment, a few breaths. Maybe even conjuring up that picture again in your mind's eye of your breath as a wave. Inhale yourself back up to sitting, and before we release this foot, let's give this foot a bit of love. Just massaging the toes, in between the toes even, the sole of that foot. Do this if you have your socks on as well. It's not so easy if you have shoes on, but that's okay. So yeah, just that round that foot, the heel, that ankle, the toes a wiggle perhaps, and then release that foot to the ground. We'll take a moment just to sit and notice that, and how we're feeling as we just windscreen wiper the knees from side to side. If you were taking a break before because you had a hip injury, this windscreen wipering movement is probably okay to do, but just very gently, small movements. So just feel into that. Notice how your feet feel against the ground and how they move as you take this movement from side to side as well. Well done. And then bring the feet just slightly wider apart. So your legs don't have to be super wide here, but just so they're really firmly planted on the ground. Lift up the toes, replace them all, and feel that connection between the sole of the feet and the ground as you sit up straight here. Bring hands to thighs, and we're going to invite a small circling movement here. So into our hips and our waist, involving our spine as well as we move around. So connect your breath to this movement. We can make it quite small to begin with. Inhaling as you come forward and exhaling as you come back. If that doesn't work for you and that's just too much to think about, don't worry. Just keep a slow, steady breath going as you warm up this circling movement. Really easing into the hips, and then you can make this movement, keep it as small or make it as big as you like. So you can begin to lead with the shoulders here, really drawing yourself round and inviting that fluidity of movement. So keeping the movement going, and bit different to holding a longer stretch, but still keeping that slow, steady breath going. Lovely. Next time that you come upright, just stop there, and then we'll begin to circle back in the other direction. So keeping that breath going, noticing how this feels in all those parts of your body which are moving, your spine as well. Lovely. Taking a few more circles there. Breathing in and out. Well done. Coming to sit back up straight, and we'll keep that movement going with our cat-cow movement. If you want to involve your arms, you can. So breathing in to open the arms, open the chest, look up, sit up really straight, inviting a little back bend almost. As you breathe out, rounding everything down and dropping the chin. So this is inviting movement into our spine, inviting the vertebrae to move independently of each other. You can choose to close down your eyes for this part of the practice, just for the next few breaths as we continue to move with our breath. And that just helps us invite our focus inward. So listen to your spine here. Notice how it feels. If it feels better for you to just take a small movement, then do that. But if actually you are really enjoying that big movement, then make it as expansive as you like, really opening the arms and then bringing everything in and rounding it down as you breathe out. Try to make the movement last as long as each breath in or out. Lovely. So one more round of that breath, and then after your last exhale, we'll leave it there for a moment. So still rounding out through the spine, dropping the chin to the chest. Clasp the hands in front of you and draw them out away from the body, almost as if you're holding a big beach ball, stretching it out in front of you. Taking a few breaths here into the space at the back of the body. So by rounding out like this, drawing the tummy in and dropping the chin to the chest, you're creating a lot of space in the back of the body between the shoulder blades. Let's imagine that we're sending our breath into that space. And release the hands, slowly come to sitting up straight, and then take hold of either the base of the chair at either side or even the back of the chair. Depends on what kind of a chair you're sitting on. And then really open up the front of the body this time. So leaning forwards, opening up the chest. This time we're making space in the chest, the whole front of the body, and across between the collarbones. Begin to look up slightly, but without overstraining the neck. So we don't want to be gazing up at the ceiling or anything, just ahead and slightly upward. And then take a good few steady breaths into that space at the front of the body. Really enjoy that feeling of space. And breathing into it, notice how it feels. Perhaps it feels really good to you to stretch like this. Or perhaps you feel quite constricted and tight in the chest. It's good to just notice that. Send a few breaths there into the front of the body and then gently release the arms. Still with feet slightly apart here. Let's bring that left hand to the right leg. Breathe in to stretch up. Make space this time in the right hand side of the body. And then as we breathe out, leaning over to the left. So trying to keep that right shoulder open and back there. The side of the body that we've stretched out. We'll send our breath there this time. So taking a few breaths as we hold this. And then inhaling back up to sitting. Bring that right hand across to the left leg. Stretch up as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, lean over to the right. Just allowing that right shoulder to drop away down towards the ground. Stretching through the left hand side of the body and really imagining that you're sending your breath into that space that you're creating there. Another few breaths. Inhale yourself back up to seated, and we'll take a twist on each side. So again, breathing in to find real length in the spine, sitting up straight. On your next exhale, we'll turn to the right. Just bring hands wherever they fall. If you want to take hold of the back of the chair with the right arm, give yourself a deeper twist, and do that. And we'll hold this stretch for a few breaths. So drawing the tummy in to give yourself space in the middle of the body to twist around, but without craning the neck, straining the neck around. So just keeping the head really pretty much in line with the body. The twist is for the spine here, not the neck really. So taking a few breaths. With every exhale, relax the shoulders. If you feel that you've gone a bit too far and it's becoming painful at all, then just release a little bit out of the twist. Continue to hold it for another breath. Lovely. And then come back towards the center. Another breath in to lengthen the spine. As we breathe out, this time we'll turn to the left. Again, see whether you want to take hold of the back of the chair to draw yourself around into a deeper twist, or just release the hands down to the side. But finding stillness in a stretch like this, holding a position, continuing to breathe deeply, really working on our deeper muscles as we do that. A little bit different to when we continue to move, find movement with our breath. With every exhale, relax your shoulders. Perhaps draw yourself another few millimeters round in that twist. One more breath. Lovely. And then slowly coming back to center. Inhale, let's stretch our arms wide and up overhead. Look up towards the hands and take a couple of breaths here. Maybe your arms are straight like mine, or maybe you have your elbows bent, just in a gentler form of this reach up overhead, whichever suits your body here. Lovely. And then separate the hands, palms face down. We're going to reach forward, breathing out as we go. And then taking another breath if we need to keep going down, all the way rounding down over the legs. Take a breath or two when you're down here. Doesn't matter how low down you've rolled down to. Just releasing tension in the spine. Let the head and the neck hang heavy. And then inhale yourself back up, walking the hands back up the legs as you come to sitting back up straight. Walk the feet back towards each other so they're about hip distance apart, really still firmly planted on the ground. And take a moment or two as you breathe here to notice how the spine feels after moving like that. Then we're going to just do some work on our shoulders. So as we inhale, drawing the shoulders up towards the ears. Hands can be relaxed here. Exhale, draw them back towards each other and down the back. Take a few shoulder rolls like that with the breath. So inhaling to draw them up and back towards each other. As you breathe out, release the shoulder blades down the back. Again, just feel into the shoulders here. Feel free at any point when we're moving like this, just to close down the eyes for a moment or lower the gaze. Invite that focus of attention inward. And concentrate rather on how it feels in your body to breathe and move. Lovely. We'll take a few back in the other direction. So for this, we're going to bring our palms out in front of us, palms face up, fingers spread wide, elbows close into the body. As we breathe in this time, open the arms out to the side, so shoulder blades are kind of squeezing together at the back and the base of the body, the base of the spine. Inhale to draw them up, exhale forward and down. So inhaling, squeezing together at the bottom, inhale, exhale forward and down. Lovely, well done. So a few more breaths like this, really squeezing the shoulder blades together at the base, bringing them forward and down. Well done. And release the hands. Actually, let's give the hands a bit of a shake out like that. They're going up the arms. The whole arms as loosely as you can. Well done. Clasping the hands out in front of you again. Let's take that beach ball hold where we stretch the arms out and just drop the chin to the chest. Release the clasp of the hands, sit up straight, but bring that left arm across the body and draw that in so that you're just drawing that upper arm in towards yourself, really making space in the outside of your shoulder there. Couple of breaths and then we'll swap that over. So this time right arm goes across the body, you just draw that in towards you. Few breaths there. Notice where you feel that stretch. Well done. Releasing that. We're going to send that right arm this time up above us and then drop the hand down behind the head. So it can come just down behind and then either just gently helping that elbow open and back or sending the palm towards the back of the room. And arm down and up behind you to just grab different parts of your t-shirt. So I'm going to just show you what this looks like from behind here. So as you're holding your t-shirt, doesn't matter how close your hands are to each other, maybe you can even grab your hands, but don't worry about that. And then we're focusing on opening up this front part of the body, so elbows away from each other. And then breathing into that diagonally opened up space. Well done. One more breath there. We'll release that and take that on the other side. So both hands come to the lap, then left arm up, forearm down the back of the body. Right arm either out to the side and up behind you, or a gentler version of this is just to hold that left elbow and just support it to come up and back. If this is too intense a stretch for you and you're feeling pain in your shoulder or neck, then just sit this one out. Take a few nice deep breaths. Notice how your body feels. Use your exhale to relax the body. Well done. And then release that hold. Take a few circles with each arm, but again there are two options here. So a full arm circle, really releasing tension in the body, breathing in as it comes up, out as it comes down. If that's too intense, a gentler form of this exercise is just to bring fingertips to the shoulder and take some circles with the elbow. So whichever option you're taking, continue to breathe as you do it. Breathing in as the elbow or arm comes forward and up, out as it comes down and back. Slow that down and we'll take a few back the other way. So breathing in and out. Again, just testing in that range of movement with the shoulder and the arms here. Well done. One more, and we'll do that on the other side. So inhale to lift the arm up, exhale as it comes down and back. Option as well on this side, just to take that gentler version of this with the elbow. It may be that Each side feels very different here, so don't worry if you need to take a different option for the second side, that's absolutely fine. Keep that breath going. Lovely. Slow it down, we'll take a few back the other way. Inhaling, exhaling, down and forward. Lovely. Oh, that big circle. Inhale and exhaling. Moving through that shoulder joint. And release that. Release both hands. Let's give that shake out again through the hands, the wrists. Really turning the wrists and the whole arms there. Well done. Breathing in, stretch wide and up, looking up. As we breathe out, let's reach forward and fold down over the legs. Take a couple of breaths here at the bottom. And then slowly begin to walk the hands up the legs, come up to seated again. Well done. And then if you like to close down your eyes for doing some neck rolls, feel free, or just soften your gaze slightly. But begin to turn the head, making circles with the nose. You can make these circles quite small to begin with, but then increasing them in size. Feeling again into that neck joint. A good few circles, moving with the breath. And when your chin is next to your chest, just leave it there for a moment. Feel that length in the back of the neck. And then begin to take small circles back the other way. So notice how the neck is feeling here. And just test out the range of movement. Maybe a few clicks and creaks in there. Sometimes feels like twigs are snapping when you move your wrists or ankles or neck. But it's not anything snapping. It's usually just little tiny pockets of air releasing as we take a movement that is releasing that nitrogen into the body, so that's fine. And another good reason to drink some water after you've done a practice like this. So any movement like this is going to release toxins from the joints that don't normally move, so drinking water, just helping that move around the body healthily is a good idea. When your chin is next to your chest, just leave it there, take a couple of breaths, sitting up nice and straight, and then bringing the chin back up to straight. Just beginning to release that right ear down to the right shoulder. It's a gentle form of this neck release here, feeling that stretch down the left-hand side of the neck. Imagine that you're sending your breath into that part of your body that you can feel stretched. If you really enjoy this neck stretch, then stretch that left arm away from you as well. You can even bring that right hand up and over the head to cradle that left ear. But we're not pulling on the head, just using the natural weight of the arm to draw the head into a deeper stretch. If that feels too much and you can't relax like this, then release that top arm. One more breath, and gently, if you have that top arm over, release it. Maybe use it even to support the head back up to the center. So bringing your head always back up to the center, very gently. And then allowing that left ear to drop down towards the left shoulder. Noticing if it feels different on this side. If you feel any pinching or pain in the neck, just come up out of that slightly. Maybe just continue with the neck circling. Stretching that right hand out and away from you if you enjoy this stretch on this side. Maybe even bringing that left arm up and over. So take whichever version of this stretch suits your neck. Use your exhale to find release in this stretch. So as you breathe out, release any tension. One more breath here. Lovely. And then gently support that head back up to the center. Take a couple of shoulder shrugs in either direction. And then we'll inhale, arms come out to the side, all the way up, look up. Exhale, reaching forward, rounding down over the legs. One last time. When we're down here, this time let's open up to the side. So the right arm comes out to the side, maybe even working up behind you, inviting that twist into the spine, draw the tummy in. Hold it here for a couple of breaths. And then release that right hand down to the lower right leg or the ground in between. Inhale, lift that left arm up to the side, maybe even working up behind you as you gaze towards that hand. Taking a couple of breaths here. Adapt all these stretches for your individual body. Exhale all the way down again. A breath at the bottom here with the neck hanging heavy, and then slowly begin to walk yourself back up your legs. Come to sitting back up straight and take a big stretch out. So stretching legs away from arms. Really big stretch into the body. Take a few wrist circles. And then relax the body. So coming just to sitting very comfortably in your chair now. Back supported in the chair. Legs out. Take a few of those windscreen wiper movements with the knees just to make sure that your legs are fully relaxed. Your hands just resting in your lap. And then you can relax all these core abdominal muscles as well. Let the belly just be loose and heavy, and your breath be gentle. Maybe drop your chin ever so slightly towards your chest and allow your breath to be gentle as you take a few releasing breaths, and then let your breath just go, just flow in and out almost unnoticed as you enjoy a few moments of rest. If you feel comfortable closing down your eyes, you can at this point. And I'll bring us back out of this time of rest just in a few moments. And just giving your body permission to take full rest here, knowing there's no more effort to put into this practice. If you're really enjoying this time of rest and you feel you need longer to just sit and absorb that practice and be in your body in a relaxed state, letting your breath be gentle, then please feel free to continue just sitting calmly and quietly for as long as you like. If it's time for you to ease back into your day, then begin to just deepen your breath slightly. Take a few gentle movements. Maybe a few wrist rolls and turning the head from side to side. And then come to sitting up straight, or take a full body stretch here. Stretching arms away from legs, feeling length in the whole front of the body. And then come to finishing the practice just sitting up straight. So feet once again just reconnecting with the ground. Keeping your eyes closed if that feels comfortable for you. And just taking a moment here as you sit at the end of your practice to notice how you feel after that. So again, noticing that connection between the soles of your feet and the ground, your sit bones and the chair, and your hands against your lap. And just to finish our practice, we can bring our palms together, hands in front of the heart. As we sit up straight, maybe dropping the chin just slightly towards the chest and allowing shoulders to come away from ears. Just holding ourselves upright. Pressing palms towards each other. Take a really big breath in and a sigh out. And then easing back, allow the light to come back in, slowly opening your eyes if you've had them closed. Finishing the practice from me to you with love and respect. Namaste. Thank you so much. So I hope you are all staying well and enjoyed that practice. Feel that you've had a good stretch. If you have any questions, please feel free to just type a little message. And enjoy the rest of your day and your week. I hope to see you again for another practice next week. But who knows, things may be easing off a little and getting slightly more back to normal. So hopefully wherever you are, whatever situation you are in, you are staying well and keeping healthy. And yeah, best wishes. I'll see you next week. Bye bye. Thank you very much.